Hello YouTube, do you struggle with gaining a lead even though you do well in lane? Or do you feel like you play decently but you just can't carry the game to a proper victory with a good start? Or because of your feeding teammates, that makes it harder for you to carry as well? If so, this coaching lesson is going to be essential for you to watch and learn from. Today we'll be coaching a Silver 1 Varus. We'll be going over Varus runes and builds, early game PvP fundamentals, as well as mid game PvP fundamentals. We'll also be covering map awareness fundamentals and wave management. We'll also go over when to play safe in lane versus when you can play aggro in lane, and a technique that you can use over and over to avoid the jungler ganking and dying to the jungler, mid laner, or top laner. If you are new here, my name is LittleBoyOfHope. I was able to reach Diamond 4 in the preseason of 10, have been coaching League part-time for a couple of years, and I create beginner-friendly League of Legends content here on YouTube. Subscribe right now and turn on the notifications if you're looking for more beginner League of Legends content to help you get to your next level. One of the first things I wanted to talk about was Varus strengths and abilities. I see that you're running like press to attack, which you did really well with, by the way. And then certain builds as well. It's like you build something different every game. It's okay to variate versus whatever team you're versing, but because we're still in high 7 low gold, having like a specific build for a certain situation, it's not totally necessary. So to keep things simple, there are 2 strong Varus builds right now. I want to talk about the runes first, and then we'll cover the build. There are 2 to 3 different runes, I would say, you can use on Varus. If you want to be strong in lane, press the attack crit Varus can be decent as well. It just, you can't press the attack as well into the mid to late game, but it's really strong during the laning phase to get a lead, to get ahead. So the second one is going to be Lethal Tempo crit build. And this one you just switch over from press the attack to Lethal Tempo, and then going downwards from both of these keystones, you want to go Presence of Mind. This helps with your mana because you use a lot of mana as Varus. And then Legend Bloodline, because your build also, it does not have any lifesteal, so having Legend Bloodline is going to be very helpful for you to sustain in lane. And then Coup de Grace. You can also switch over to Cut Down if you're versing very tanky people as well. There's a few ways we can go about this. You could go Taste of Blood, Ravenous Hunter for more sustain in lane. Or if you want more damage, you could go for something like Absolute Focus or Transcendence for a stronger mid-late game spike into Scorch in the laning phase, or if Gathering Storm is fine as well. Nimbus Cloak is nice as well because you can get away easier with your flash and your heal, because it adds a little bit of a speed up to it, or even Mana Flow Ban, so if you need more mana. So it's all dependent on how you want to play, but these are like your flex options. And then what a lot of pros like to do right now is just boost into Biscuits. This gives you your Berserker Greaves sooner for this build, and this makes it so you save a little bit more money without having to use your own money. Going into the third runes with Varus, this is the most popular Varus rune. This is going to be the lethality build, and you go Halo Blades. So Halo Blades synergize really well with Varus because you get 3 auto attacks that gets your blades instantly, and then you can just E them or Q them, or auto attack 3 times, R into E into 3 auto attacks into WQ finish. And so once you do that, you get 3 blights into another 3 blights into another 3 blights, that being around 9 blights. When that person dies, you get the Varus passive coming in, and then also synergizing with you as well. And then we'll go Taste of Blood here as well, because we don't have that much lifesteal in the items that we go with the lethality build. And then I would also go for it could be Zombie Ward if you're gonna go like Umbral Glaive. This is gonna be very helpful, very nice to have if you have Umbral Glaive. However, if you want like more damage, you go Eyeball Collection. And then you can go Ravenous Hunter or Ultimate Hunter. Both are decent options depending on what you like. Ravenous Hunter just helps you lifesteal more because you're not gonna really have any lifesteal items on Varus here. Or you can go Ultimate Hunter as well, and then that just gets your ultimate up more, so you get more one shots. And same thing for a secondary flex item. You can either go Inspiration, Resolve, or you can either go Inspiration, Sorcery, or Precision depending on what you want. Either Presence of Mind into Alacrity, or even Coup de Grace is fine. Triumph is also okay as well, but Presence of Mind just really helps a lot with the mana, and Mana Flow Ban also helps a lot with the mana. So depending on which one you like more or feel better with, you can flex into those options. Right, so those are the runes. Let's go over the items. So first off with the items is let's go over the lethality build because this actually we'll go over the crit just to keep everything in order. So the crit build, you can go either lethality or press the attack. Recommended highly lethality though, but if you want to be stronger in lane, press the attack works too. It's just in the mid game you just don't get the full value out of it as you would from Lethal Tempo or Halo Blade. So let's talk about your starter, your whole build here. So the main build is your Noon Quiver item, whatever you want that to be. You can flex that into Gale Force or Kraken Slayer if they have 3 tanks or people with a lot of HP. Kraken Slayer would be the one to go for. And then you can also go Gale Force as well. If they don't have any tanks or if they only have 1 tank, you can go Gale Force as well for more mobility, more escapes versus assassins and everything. You could also opt to run for the Immortal Shield Bow as well, but I find that with just Gale Force, you do more than enough burst damage, you play well in lane, you get ahead, and Gale Force is really nice. And you can now play a lot of assassins with Gale Force. Second item is going to be Berserker Greaves into Phantom Dancer. So you go Phantom Dancer versus like assassins and stuff, people you have to 1v1. However, if you're just playing like a front to back playstyle, you could also opt out for the Runeon's Hurricane as well, and this is really strong because most of the time Varus are going to be fighting front to back with your team, looking to get peeled, and if there are no assassins or no immediate threats, dangerous threats like Wukong, Camille, that you don't have to 1v1 and kite back yourself, you can go Phantom Dancer if that's the case. If not, you go Runeon's Hurricane, and then you just do more DPS and more AoE damage. After that, third item, you would go Infinity Edge, or if not Infinity Edge, you could also opt for Bloodthirster as well. And then fourth, fifth item, if you want Bloodthirster, I would probably say get Infinity Edge next. But if you really need, really need it, I wouldn't advise to go Infinity Edge and then, or Bloodthirster and then GA. I would probably just say like, if you want to, you could just go like Stopwatch and then run Infinity Edge into GA and maybe Bloodthirster after that. But like there are also situational items, like I said, Runeon's Hurricane can replace that, and then Noon Quiver can flex into Gale Force or Kraken Slayer. Bloodthirster could be replaced with IE or GA, and then after that, just make sure you fit an IE in. IE is really important. If they have a lot of armor, then you go Lordamus Regards. If they just have a lot of HP, like a lot of bruisers that don't build any armor necessarily, but just like Sterix Gauge and a lot of HP in general, then Blade the Rune Kings is really strong too. And if you're doing really well and you just need more like peel, then you can just build the QSS here to free yourself from the stun. So that's the crit Varus build. Let's go over and talk about the lethality build. So this is the more popular one. You use this build when there's a lot of squishies on the enemy team, and you use the crit build when you need consistent DPS versus a lot of bruisers that you can't kill immediately. So the Halo Blade lethality, you go, so Prowler's Claw is very popular right now because of its stats in general. It's just got 21 lethality over 18 lethality, and then this one gives you ability haste, Dust Blade, and the claw gives you lethality, so that's the difference. Some people like to run Dust Blade as well. Not that popular right now, but it is still a viable option. When you kill someone, you just become invisible, and this is like really nice for repositioning yourself in team fights. And the core for this one is just depending on which Dirk item you go with, whether that be like the claw or the D-Blade. You want to go Ionian Boots into Manamune. These are your core items. After that, you can flex your fourth item into like Umbral Glaive if you're really far ahead and looking to really cancel vision. Pair this up with your rune I was talking about earlier, and you're going to be able to clear vision and set vision up, so good for your team. Or you can flex into Ghostblade, being more aggressive as well, and just more mobility, running away from like a Zed, Talon, something like that. And then you also have Edge of Night you can flex into, and Edge of Night just more of a safer build style. This is like the regular go-to for standard builds. You have a Collector as well if you just want to go do more damage and just Glass Cannon carry the game. And then after that you can go into Serelda's Grudge or GA. That would be the Varus lethality build, and I would recommend to stick to these 2-3 runes and these 2 builds, right? Halo Blade's lethality or PTA LT crit build, and flexing the items in that way. So to keep it simple, make sure you only run these 2 builds, and so that's what I would stick to first off. If you want to play PTA as well, as long as it's working for you, that's fine, right? But I'm just saying, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 games here where you perform pretty good in these games. It's like not good, but it's like pretty good too, because like maybe you did really well, you just got chaos, right? but you did pretty decent in these games with PTA, but just couldn't carry. And so, you know, if if something isn't working out for you, just try something else. Maybe that'll feel better for you, right? So like Halo Blades, which is meta right now, or Lethal Tempo, which is the unpopular second option that a lot of still Masters and Grandmasters Varus players are still running right now. And so make sure to give those two a try too, and just don't stick to one thing because one high elo player does it and because it works out for him. So that's the first thing I want to point out is build and room paths. Make sure you have it set, keep it simple. Don't complicate the game. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Keep everything simple. Keeping everything simple just makes your life easier and also lets you enjoy the game more. Looks like we leashed for a little bit too long here. We could leave a little bit sooner because now by the time we get to lane, we might lose out on minions. So see how we lose out on one minion? So we didn't get the minion EXP because we lost out on one minion. So just get to lane sooner, push level 2 sooner too, because now you guys are tied with these guys. So notice instead of like looking for harass here, which is totally fine versus the Pyke, we could be pushing for level 2 instead. And then right after this minion dies, we want to take advantage of that level 2. But right, like this right here, you don't hit level 2 because why not? Because you missed one minion early, and so now you're forced to play passive. These two could, if these two are a little bit better, they could play up more and chunk both of you guys out for more HP, but they don't do that. Because you're behind in one minion, there's a high chance that they're gonna hit level 6 first as well. Hook gets piked, you guys go into the Rakan gets hooked by Pyke. You guys go into the Pyke immediately, and then this fight happens. So like, a few things I wanted to point out about this fight. It's nice that you healed early so that he doesn't get ignited, but instead of Rakan being targeted now, you're the target. Right? So another thing too is like you definitely want to fight this fight because they're in your minion wave. So that's number one thing, is you want to fight this fight. So right here, Pyke already uses pull. Right here, Pyke already flash E. And then Kaisa is using Q, but Kaisa doesn't land Q on Rakan. Kaisa lands Q on you, Rakan, and minions. Right? So it goes to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 targets. So one minion, one you, one Rakan. So now they're just like, now they don't have any more damage, right? So you're healing when you don't have to heal because they don't have damage to finish Rakan. But because you heal, then they just switch on you instead, and then they just kill you. Right, so right here it could be technically a free double for you, but now you burn flash and heal and you don't get it because you heal early, they focus you instead, and then this happens. Whereas like if you would have stayed alive, you had 0 value from the heal because you're full HP already, and then Rakan got healed, but they're not even focusing Rakan. 1, they're not even focusing Rakan, and 2, their abilities are on cooldown. And so when you healed Rakan up before Rakan got ignited, which is fine, but you lose the value where you were already full HP. So like right here, you notice that they want all in and you heal, which is a nice thing, but when you heal, you are full HP already, and these guys are diving in your minion range, right? Just let Rakan keep walking over here, keep baiting them, maybe let him get ignited, doesn't matter. You're wasting a lot of value here because you don't have like anything to heal on yourself, so you lose out on the value. These guys chase Rakan into here and they try to kill Rakan. Maybe you get a free double kill because you have your wave here, you have this wave coming, and you have this turret if they try to dive him. Otherwise, you just keep dishing out DPS and you just kill both of these guys, whether that be Pyke or Kaisa. Just choose one and focus them. Also, what I wanted to point out is if you had Halo Blades, you would have done a lot more burst damage versus these two, or even Lethal Tempo, because then you would have the attack speed boost. Whereas PTA, like PTA would be nice with if you have like a Pantheon support or like an aggressive support that does damage too. But Rakan's more like a utility support. So Rakan doesn't get the full value of PTA, where you would get the full value of Halo Blades here from this fight, or Lethal Tempo. Instead of getting the free double, because that was a free double, you just die. And then because you die, it also makes it harder for you to carry this game, because you have to play from behind now instead of playing from ahead. So if you knew your Shyvana was coming, that was a good bait. However, if you want to just avoid the hooks like that, if you weren't looking to bait intentionally, then you just basically walk behind the minions. So like right here, like you're at the angle where he can actually pull you, just walk behind the minions across from him. Like you are behind the minions according to Kaisa, but according to Pyke, you're like right there, so you're in pull range. And then you also make it so like when you get hooked, you commit, they overcommit for you, which is really, really good. So this was a good fight here, but like the one thing I do have to say about this is you always want to think, like, I know you probably just killed them both and you probably were just happy, but we see Wukong on the map here all the time until now. It's like now Wukong's gone, but we killed 2 of them and we're just happy, right? But we always want to think in the early game skirmishes like this, like even in the mid game, we always want to think to ourselves, after a fight, always think about what can we take. So here we can take dragon, or we can back, and that's what we can take, right? And then who from where? We always want to think who from where, right? Who can kill us, and from where can they kill us? So there's Kaisa here. Kaisa can maybe kill us, but there's 3 of us. There's Wukong mid, right? Wukong mid is the other option. Where is Wukong? Well, he's missing now, so we don't know where he is. But a couple of seconds ago, we know exactly where he is, right? And you were zoned in and getting busy killing them, so you might not have seen, right? But this is just like map awareness, and you always want to think like in these early skirmishes, after you kill people or while you're killing people, you always want to know like who's coming next, like who's next. Always think to yourself, who's next, who from where can kill me, and what can we take after this fight. Boom. And here's another big thing is every time as an ADC or support playing in the bot lane, you always want to think when you're level 4, that means the top laner, the jungler, and the mid laner are going to be around level 5, level 6. And so boom, right here. So you get caught up to that and die. So that's one thing that will help you out a lot, and just because you already died 2 times in under 6 minutes, it's really, really bad. Because now it just makes it so much harder for you to carry this game. Right here we start pushing the wave. One thing I would do here is probably look to pull the wave. I would push the wave because it's a good idea to push the wave because they're backing, but like what if they're not backing, right? So you push the wave, and what if they're not backing? And now you see the Pyke, and now you see the Kaisa, and Kaisa's low mana, but she's not backing. So now you're just put in a bad situation where you have nothing to do. But now we're just in a bad situation where like this is all happening, right? Because we pushed the wave, where if like we would have pulled the wave instead, or looked to pull the wave and stop the backs, we always 100% always want to stop the backs, because if you stop the backs, then you know that they're like either 1, they're not backing, they're just standing there, or 2, they are looking to back and you just interrupted their back timer, and so that makes it harder for them to get items to fight you guys when you guys have items. See, 2,900, she had 3,200, but in items spent, she hasn't cashed out yet. So you still have more gold than her, and so she's got like 1,300 gold, 450. That means that's 450, 1,300, 1,750, and you've got over 2,000 gold. So like that's why you would want to back her, stop her before she backs, and look to pull the wave to deny, because it's just like you. And now when you pull the wave, she just gets to farm for free before she backs. It's good poke damage under turret, and knowing that she has no CDR or no resources, so this is good. But then we just keep pushing. Just ask yourself, if you don't know where the jungler is, just assume he's in your lane, unless it's warded, which it is here and here, right? But if you don't know where the jungler is, you always ask yourself, if I was the enemy jungler, where would I gank right now? Would I gank top lane right now? If I was Olaf, would I gank top lane right now? No. Because Riven's not low, there's no chance for a dive. Big minion wave, medium-sized minion wave crashing, but it's just not well set up for Olaf. If I was Olaf, would I gank mid? No, because Aurelia is not there. If I was Olaf, would I gank bot lane? Yes. Because these guys are overextended, and I have a Pyke can pull and stun. And I have axes that can slow infinitely, and I do a lot of damage. I could just run him down. So yes, I would. And because the answer is yes, then we would just play safe. Get the 1 plating and we just back. Get 1 plating and just back. Because there's a chance that Olaf's here. Because he can gank us, right? So it's not like exactly knowing where he is, but it's like a higher percentage of knowing. Also, like, another thing too is like if you ask that question and everyone's pushed in and Olaf can gank you, you still back anyways, right? Because the answer is still the same. Olaf might be there. Missed the ward, Arc is vision. Dragon Seal 9 HP. It's safer to pull it and make him overextend for you, and that way you're not overextended either. Good job killing the Pike there. And Kaisa just runs it down. The only issue with pushing right here is that you just stole Dragon from Olaf, and you also have no sums. And when you push here, you just put yourself in danger, because what if Olaf just comes behind and ganks? Then you guys just try to PO and die, right? So like pushing like this is totally fine, poking like this is totally fine, but there's just a chance that what if Olaf is there? What happens, right? Because same thing, right? Can Olaf king top right now? No, not really, because Riven's really mobile and Heimerdinger can't tie her down. Irelia is not even mid lane, so the only place Olaf is going to be bot lane. But you get the kill anyways, which is fine. Get bone platings, and then you die to Olaf. See, right? So same thing I said. We died to Olaf here. Same thing I said. We died to Olaf here because we just keep pushing for plating. By the time Olaf comes, we just can't run from him anymore because he can just press R and do this, right? But like, let's go back a couple seconds, and like right here, just ask yourself again. If I was Olaf, would I go top right now? No, Riven is dead. That's the jungler. The jungler's not going to overextend versus Heimerdinger. If I was the jungler, would I be mid lane right now? No, because it's Irelia. So, like not because it's Irelia. No, because Irelia is not even in lane, and his ally Wukong isn't even in lane. Could I gank Varus? If it's just me versus Varus, can I beat Varus? Yes, I just press R when Varus presses R, and I just throw my axes at him and I just run him down. Right, so if you were the jungler, what would you do? And that's how you know if it's safe or not to push for these turret platings. Work on the wave management as well too, you know? Push and poke under turret, but like only try to do that like if you mess up I say only slow push and dive under turret if you mess up the wave. If you mess up the wave and you can't freeze the wave. Otherwise, majority of the time in the bot lane, the power of just having the wave right here is so strong because you can get a jungler to gank, Irelia could roam down and gank, Rakan could engage with flash WR onto Kaisa, who has very little mobility, and Pike. Early game. Right, also now we're pushed here, we see Wukong here, so now it's harder for us. Like, we can't do anything at this point, right? What happens if we're here, right? If Wukong walks up and pressures us, then that's fine because we're safe under the turret. We're still getting minions, and then we're not losing minions. But we just keep pushing all the time and auto pushing. Because we just auto push, there's just less opportunity for us, right? Look at this. We're still pushing, and every wave we just push automatically. And Shyvana's here. Shyvana can't do anything. Irelia's here. Irelia can't do anything. All right, now this is good. Setting up a dive like this is good. Stay behind the minions. Good job. And should be able to kill the Olaf here too. There we go. Good job. So I understand you want to push because you're stronger than them and you want to take advantage of it, but at the same time you have to understand the consequences as well, right? And right here it was okay to push because Shyvana was invading in their jungle, so you know that your jungler is there to back up if the enemy jungle comes, and that's why it was a good idea. You landed a good snipe on Kaisa and one-shot at her, so that was really well done. Beautiful snipe onto the Pike. So right here you transition to push this wave, to catch this wave, which is fine in my opinion. Shyvana gets caught out, tries to kill the Kaisa, and gets caught out 1v3. So the only thing I would say for you right here is to notice that you're the only one who does damage. Because Shyvana's 4-0 and now Shyvana's 4-1 and she's dead. So just be very careful here. Oh my gosh. Alright, so this play is a little bit sloppy, and here to explain why. So Wukong's clone comes out, we start autoing Wukong's clone, which is like totally fine. But the main thing I want to stress out here is like Heimerdinger ultimate is out and we keep chasing. The biggest thing about this is like Heimerdinger ultimate already came out. You're level 9, Heimerdinger is level 13. Heimerdinger's got 5 kills and 1 death. He's got 2 items fully completed and he's got his orb already as well to reduce healing. So the biggest thing right here is Heimerdinger is 4 levels up on us and his ultimate is dropped. He has a 1, 2, and then he just has to press Q for a 3rd turret to come back out. Right now Irelia is dead. We're still chasing. He has 3 he has 1, 2, 3, 4 turrets on us, right? Not the ultimate anymore, but he's still got 1, 2, 3 turrets on us at this point. And like, you know, like Heimer ultimate is the big thing, but like these turrets do a shit ton of damage too when their white bar fills up, right? I know you see the ribbon coming from the map and you want to help out, but at the same time you gotta press tab more often, because what tab does is for you is it shows you how fed the enemy laner is. Heimerdinger 6-1 at this point, and our Riven 0-4 at this point. So 0-4 Riven walking into this fight, what do you think she's gonna do? Absolutely nothing. And you start trying to kill these turrets instead, but it's just not helpful. And then Riven comes in and doesn't do anything either. So that's all I would say is just press tab more often and you'll be able to read these fights. Right, and now your Shyvana comes in. Your Shyvana's 4, 1, and 3. Now Shyvana can actually do something and you can help Shyvana out. It's just the fact that you overchase into 4 Heimerdinger turret is the big thing. So it's like chasing that Heimerdinger with 4 turrets in your path while you're chasing him. It's like worse than chasing a Singe, because a Singe just slowly kills you. You can back off at any time you want, but like a Heimerdinger turret does so much damage it could like kill you like instantly. During the mid game like this, you really have to consider more than Kaisa and Pike's abilities, more than Wukong's abilities. You also have to consider the top laner and the jungler's abilities too. Just press tab once the mid game comes around and just think like, what is a threat to me and what do I need to avoid? What is dangerous and what isn't, right? So you have to watch out, because if Olaf gets close to you, you have to press R to peel him from you. But if you press R, he can also just R and escape, right? So that's another thing. And then there's also Wukong ultimate you have to watch out for, Gale Force, before he hops onto you. And then there's also Heimerdinger as well. So Heimerdinger stun, Heimerdinger W, Heimerdinger in general. Just like don't chase him within like, just don't chase Heimerdinger. It's like don't chase Singe, don't chase Heimerdinger, especially if it's like 3-4 turrets out. And then Kaisa W if she tries to snipe you while you're backing or something, and then Pike Pole if he tries to hit a pole or something while he's invisible. These are like the things that you have to watch for every game, and as an ADC you just have to, if you want to play ADC, this role is for the people who are really good at the game, very mechanically skilled. You have to know everything, and you have to, since you're getting to high silver, low gold now, you're actually getting pretty good at the game, and you're versing people who are actually decent at the game now. You're versing better players is the point, and versus better players, you have to be better than better players. You have to know everyone's abilities at this point of the game, and you have to be able to calculate how to play around these abilities, is the point that I'm trying to get around. And then, because we don't do that, we just kind of get run down by Heimerdinger turrets. Here we killed this guy, this guy. Okay, so we killed 3 guys. What can we do? What can we take? Nothing, right? We can't take anything top. Can't take anything mid. That was just like a defensive play, which is fine. But instead of chasing this guy and flashing after him, what does Pyke have? All Pyke's used so far is his Q. So that means Pyke still has W, he still has E to run away. Right? Unless you have ultimate, you can R flash onto him, but because you don't, then you just don't. Because you can't one-shot him. So don't flash after him. That's what I'm saying is like, mid-game, press tab, look at every single champion, what does that champion do and how do you outplay that champion? These things matter, so that in these situations, you don't just go up ahead and waste flash. Okay, so immediately you know this is a bad fight just because everyone is already low, right? Aurelia is already low, Shyvana is already low, and if you press tab, you already know Riven, who is not low, is pretty useless, so you should already know that. So you want to fight around Shyvana and Aurelia definitely, and these two are already low, so we just want to play very, very passive at this point. So let's talk about runes with these fights. With this fight, let's talk about runes. You have press the attack right now. Press the attack makes one person very weak makes one person vulnerable to more damage, right? That's basically what press the attack does. We're not building lethality. I mean, we got the collector here, which is lethality item, but we're not building lethality Varus because there's 1, 2, 3 squishies, right? And there's 2 tankies. So you're going crit build, you're going PTA, but you just don't have the damage to do a consistent DPS because you don't have lethal tempo. Right, let's just say you didn't have press the attack here, but instead of press the attack, you had lethal tempo. Right, you proc it right here is when it would proc, and then you kill Heimerdinger right here because lethal tempo is popping off, and then you go next and you kill this Kaisa as well. Right, because you do go PTA and you do decent in lane, but you just don't get the full value of it, and you also don't get the value in team fights because you don't have lethal tempo for the crit build Varus, and you don't have lethal tempo for crit build Varus, and you don't have Halo Blades for assassin Varus. So that's just one thing, is if you want to play press attack, that's fine, but in these, like, just notice that in these skirmishes, if you had that one different rune, like instead of PTA, if you would have had lethal tempo because you're building crit Varus, then maybe you would have been, maybe you could have done a lot more work on these fights, right? I also noticed, like, you go PTA, but you don't really proc PTA at all in these team fights, right? Like, maybe it procs, but that's just from you autoing, right? It's not proc through, like, you don't walk up and auto, and then once they hit 3, you WQ them, right? Well, like, once you hit 3 stacks of Blight and 3 stacks of PTA, then you WQ them, right? You don't do that. So maybe if you do want to keep playing PTA, just keep that in mind and play that way. Like, auto 3 times first, get the PTA proc off on Wukong here before you shoot him, or Olaf before you shoot him. Instead of just, like, see how you use your Q here? You're still playing like you're playing lethality Varus when you need to get up in their face and start autoing them. You have Gale Force to escape from Wukong engage, so that's one thing. You have your ultimate to Pio as well, so that's another thing. And you have Gale Force to escape. For me, if I was going lethal tempo though, I would definitely prefer Kraken Slayer, because Kraken Slayer just gives you more better stats, more damage versus like Olaf and Kong. You can do a lot more consistent damage overall. I could see why you would go Gale Force versus Olaf and Wukong just to escape, dodge maybe Olaf's axe or Heimerdinger ability skill shot, or Wukong or Pyke. So it's understandable why you would go Gale Force. I'm not sure the items right now for Varus, to be honest, but I know the main items for Varus, the main build for Varus is Kraken Slayer, and then Phantom Dancer into IE, or Kraken Slayer, Runon's Hurricane into IE, and then you could also flex IE and Lord Dominic's third item as well. And then the build for lethality is, like I said earlier, a Dustblade or Prowler's Claw into Muramane, Ionian Boots into Sorrel the Scrudge. And so these are the two builds that you want to focus around, or like these are the most popular Varus builds. Maybe try them out and see how that feels. Because right now you went with a crit item, and then collector kind of low-key crit item, lethality item 2. And this is a crit item as well. But we just don't really have that much attack speed right now. We have Berserker Greaves, we have our passive, but we went PTA, so that's not as helpful, and we're not proccing our PTA in these fights either. So just a whole bunch of problems in general when it comes to like the build working together with the runes. Just everything's mishmash, you know. Like if it was a meta build, I probably wouldn't mind as much, but this is just a build where like it's not that meta, right? Like this build is not that meta, and so that's the only issue, is just working in the build. I know on some of the other games I've seen you play was like Immortal Shield Bow as well, and I think that's totally fine versus like a Zed or something, a really fed Zed or an Akali, but I wouldn't do it unless they're really fed. I would just probably go regular Kraken if I was going. I feel like for me, honestly, Gale Force and Immortal Shield Bow is a very luxury item, whereas if you get ahead early, you can build it defensively to help you get ahead further by snowballing with Gale Force or repositioning with Gale Force, and Shield Bow to help prevent you from dying if you're ahead. But if you're behind, these two items are very useless. They don't synergize as well with Varus as Kraken Slayer would, or Duskblade or Prowler's Claw. Prowler's Claw, the active, kind of sucks, to be honest. It does help shred, but it does kind of suck, to be honest. But the stats off of Prowler's Claw is just really good right now. And Duskblade is nice too because it has decent stats for Varus. And also, Varus can disappear after killing someone, and that helps a lot with repositioning in teamfights, similar to a Vayne RQ or a Kaisa E. On these, like just, I think with talking just build-wise and rune-wise, switching up from PTA to something more meta might help you a lot, because I see that in these team fights, there are chances for you guys to win these team fights, but with PTA and just the wrong builds, like this, it's just not doing you a favor. As much as if you would have had Kraken Slayer, a bunch of DPS, immediately kill the Olaf, immediately kill the Wukong. Heimerdinger no longer has a frontline, your team is still alive, and then you immediately kill the rest of the enemy team. That would be the biggest issue right now, is in how you would carry games like these. It's just a build that is like fully optimized, that pro players and solo queue players, you know, all take advantage of and use on a daily. If you liked today's video, make sure you check out my how to actually carry video on Azir versus Sylas in the mid lane, teaching you guys how to impact the map as a mid laner.